Supreme Court has refused to block a Texas law that outlaws abortions after 6 weeks of pregnancy, raising alarm about the survival of Roe v. Wade. The vote in the Supreme Court was 5-4, with the 3 Trump-appointed justices joining 2 other conservative justices. Dissenting were conservative Chief Justice John Roberts and the court's 3 liberal justices. Today, the president slammed the High Court's decision, saying it would, quote, unleash constitutional chaos, and said he planned to launch a whole-of-government effort to respond to this decision, looking specifically to HHS and DOJ to see what steps the federal government can take to insulate those in Texas from this law.
The new Texas law is unique. It empowers private citizens, not government officials, to file a civil lawsuit against patients, medical workers, or even a patient's family or friends who, quote, aid and abet an abortion, or a taxi driver who drives a woman to a clinic. If a case is successful, the person who filed it is awarded at least $10,000 plus attorney's fees.
We can't 100% conclude that the court will overrule Roe v. Wade, but if we're looking to read the tea leaves, it certainly seems that the court is heading in that direction and is not really treating abortion rights with the same gravity the court would treat other constitutional rights.
The president committed on the campaign trail and remains committed to now. Codifying Roe v. Wade as the law of the land is something that Congress can do. He will continue to push them to do, and that is a specific course of action that can be taken to help protect from these type of lawsuits in the future.
Oil spill in the Gulf. Should we be worried about a disaster happening? And what does that mean for LNG and other natural gas companies? Vaccine card. Will you be offended when people start asking you for your vaccine papers? Now with school and shopping in full effect, will we be okay with showing our vaccine passports? It is Monday, September the 6th, Labor Day, 7:05 a.m. My name is Frankie Olivo, and this is Good Morning Brownsville. Good morning, Joe. How's it going? Thank you for stopping by. I was debating whether I should have a show. It is Labor Day. Individuals are catching up on some much needed rest. Those that don't have school or work, but I decided to pull through. Good to see you on here. Good morning, Ramona. How's it going? Thank you for your time. How was your weekend? Some enjoyed a 3-day weekend. Hope you had a good couple days off. Nice to see you. Nice to see you on here. Starting off with the weather. It's going to be again a hot day in the city of Brownsville. Brownsville's at 98, Harlingen at 99. The western part of Hidalgo is in the triple digits. So again, very, very hot in the valley. Nothing new, of course. With local sports, thank God that we have football, volleyball on. We had some action this past weekend. The Pace Vikings, they open up district with a win over the Lopez Lobos, 42-14. Rivera ended up securing a victory against Edinburgh High. It was a great game, 26-24. Special shots out goes to Coach Hugo, the defensive coordinator for the Rivera Raiders. Also, special shots out goes to Ramsey Rocha, who ended up helping the Raiders with 3 touchdowns this game. The Hannah High, the Homer Hannah High played against Sherryland this Saturday. And what a great come from behind victory. They were led by Chris Peña, who scored 3 touchdowns with a go-ahead 83-yard touchdown to secure the victory over the Sherryland Rattlers, 37-26. St. Joe met with Santa Rosa, and they were led by their quarterback, their leader, Luigi Cristiano, who ended up throwing 6 touchdowns. 6 touchdowns in their 38-14 victory. That's That's unheard of, I guess, down here in the city of Brownsville. So 6 TDs is quite an accomplishment. Brownsville's very own Omar Juarez is one of the notable PBC fighters who is 23 years and younger. He is the pride of Brownsville, him and his brothers. He does have an upcoming fight September the 18th on Fox. Once we get more information, we will provide the link. I'm debating of whether I should do like a little boxing commentary. I wanted to do it last fight, but I kind of chickened out last minute. I'm debating whether I should provide that. I think that'd be pretty cool. Something different. I haven't done sports talk in a while, but Omar Juarez does have an upcoming fight September the 18th. He currently is in Vegas right now training. It's good to see on his father's feed how he's running 5+ miles on the Las Vegas Strip, which is pretty cool. Shouts out to Coach Juarez, the Juarez boys, and the Juarez family. Also, something very special happened for the Valley, and more importantly for us ex-players. Port Isabel won their second game on Friday, but more importantly, Coach Tony Villarreal got his 200th victory. He has the most wins for Hispanic, who is an active coach in the state of Texas. Maybe I'm a little biased, but Coach Tony has really impacted my life. He was my football coach back at Hannah High. He was the first individual who got me my first job, which I'm forever grateful. I speak for many ex-players of his. He touched and made an impact in our lives. Some of us didn't have father figures, role models, and we looked to Coach Tony for that. And he provided guidance, friendship, and many other things. It is great to see a much deserving individual receiving this accomplishment. 200 wins in football in the state of Texas is no easy task. It was also nice to see him celebrating after the game with his family, with his loved ones on the field shortly thereafter. Congratulations, Coach Tony. You deserve it. Much love. Good luck in this upcoming year. 2-0. It's not easy, guys. It's not easy running the A set. For those individuals that know, nowadays we have the spread option. And it's not easy running the A set, the triple option. But Coach Tony, everywhere he goes, whether that's PI, Hannah High, Westlaco, and back now at PI, he always finds success. He always brings out the very best in his players. And that is what a coach does. A coach is not somebody who has all the talent in the world. It's plugging in players and figuring out what is their best attribute and bringing that out in the individual. Again, I am very fond of Coach Tony, of the Villarreal family, of his father. Him and his father were football and baseball studs in high school. So again, congratulations, Coach. Well deserved. Let's shoot for 300 now. Good luck, Coach. World news, rookie. World news. We don't hear this very often. And that may be because big corporations are always behind things, of course. And money talks. We recently got word this past weekend that there was an oil spill because of Ida in the Gulf of Mexico. This was an old pipeline that was disrupted and did cause an oil spill. Louisiana has 17 oil refineries that have placed it near capacity. And this past hurricane, we were worried about Ida hitting us here in the Rio Grande Valley. It ended up curving and hitting Louisiana. This oil spill is around the Mississippi River, south of New Orleans. The significance behind this is that it was first reported because of the storm on Monday by local officials. It is a pipeline owned by Houston, by a Houston-based oil company called Talos Energy. And again, if we go back in time and remember history, we will go back to 1989 with Exxon and their oil spill. More recently, in 2010, I believe, I forget the name of the company. I had it right now. Is it High Water or Tidewater? Did have the largest oil spill in the Gulf, and this is what could possibly happen now, and that's very, very scary. The federal government did respond to reports of oil spill and chemical spill in the Louisiana, south of Louisiana River. They are boats that are being shipped off right now, and they're trying to contain this oil spill. But again, as you can imagine, it's just very, very difficult. We do see how these boats have been trying and are being tracked to see their movements. And what we see from the satellite images is that something very, very scary might be happening. This oil spill might be one of several caused by Hurricane Ida. We saw how the devastation that it has caused in surrounding areas. And now Louisiana, not only did it hit their residents on land, but it is also affecting them off the coast in the Gulf with this oil spill. And there's a possible, if we look down here at the second circle at the bottom left, mid left, there's a possible second oil spill. We see the boats, how they're trying to contain the spill. And based on satellite imagery, we see that this is quite a lot. I think the largest at the time was 11 million gallons back in 2010. I believe that's the largest oil spill recorded in history by most recently. I forget the name of the company. I was trying to remember the name of the company, but I forget. But again, why is this important? Why is this significant? Well, because it does have serious ramifications for our ecosystem, for our marine biolife in the water. It affects plants. It affects fishes. It affects our Mother Earth. And the ironic thing is that when I was reading about this on Saturday night, Sunday morning, was how Mother Earth kind of said, "Hey, here you go. Get this out of my way." Is Mother Nature giving us a lesson? BP, thank you, Gallo. BP, you're right. I forgot about that. That was in 2010, if I'm not mistaken, which is currently the largest oil spill in the history of the United States. British Petroleum. Thank you for bringing that up. Appreciate that, Gallo. But why is this important? Because it has serious consequences and it affects our ecosystem, our fishes, our plants, and also why is there a need to act on this? Because we need reporting, transparent reporting that will bring about the mobilization of resources. We saw the devastation that BP caused in the Gulf back in 2010. We do not want to see the same thing happen again. Here locally with LNG, we've had individuals who were, and still today are adamantly protesting against them. They feel that if something were to happen, if there was a spill, if there was an explosion, not only will our residents be heavily affected by it, but also our wildlife, our ecosystem, our animals, our fishes, and just the pollution of this. This is something that we do need to bring to attention, but we don't hear this in the mainstream media. I still haven't heard on ABC, CNN, Fox News of this oil spill, but we know why. Because of money. Billions of dollars are invested in these companies, and they seek handsome rewards from these activities. So we don't expect the mainstream media to be as transparent as we would like them to. So there is a spill in the Gulf right down by the Mississippi River, south of Louisiana, New Orleans area. How will this affect our local ecosystem moving forward? Is this something that is going to be a common occurrence in the future? And this is something that we just have to deal with? I hope not. Good morning, Genaro. How's it going? I'm waiting for my "Wish You Were Here" shirt that y'all went on a little mini vacation. Thank you for being on here. Have a good Monday, Labor Day. While others are enjoying, relaxing their day, I'm sure you will be behind the laptop and working the phones. Thank you for stopping by. I hope you have a great day. Kisses and hugs to the family. Also, something very, very important. Will you be offended if I asked you for your vaccine papers? It wasn't too long ago where individuals were offended when Arizona passed the "let me see your documents" policy, which gave the authority to law enforcement officials to ask anybody. Again, they were targeting illegal immigrants, of course, and many people were offended by it. Hey, this is my citizenship. I'm offended. Now, would you be offended if this happened to you? And again, this is something that many individuals have openly stated that this is something that we all need. We need this in our area because many individuals who are not vaccinated are transmitting the virus to other people. And we have seen around the world how places in Europe are not allowing U.S. travel if they do not have their vaccine passports. This is something that is going to be the norm. A lady in in Illinois was arrested for using a fake vaccine card as she traveled to Hawaii. The funny thing about this case was that the shot, the vaccine is Moderna, M-O, like in Spanish, Moderna. Well, in this vaccine card, she spelled it Maderna with an A. And officials at the airport looked at it. I was like, no. And they arrested her. Again, many individuals are still optimistic about this vaccine. Some say, hey, I'd rather wait. I'm of that belief that I don't want to take the vaccine. I'm a little hesitant because of that. But individuals are resorting to fake vaccine cards. We know how the black market works and how easy and accessible these cards could be. Here, being in south of Matamoros, I'm sure we can come across these if we wanted to. The Brazil and Argentina World Cup qualifying match yesterday was canceled mid-game. I think they were like 5 minutes into the game, and health officials came onto the field and they said, hey, you all can't play. There are some players here who are not vaccinated. And everybody was like, what? You can just imagine. And again, a world qualifying game between two big countries, you would think, let them play. Well, no. The officials did stop them mid-game because there were 3 Argentina players who are accused of lying on documents to avoid the COVID-19 quarantine and vaccination. Again, would you be offended if this happened to you? We have seen how restaurants in the New York area and the East Coast, you can't walk in unless you have your vaccine card. It's going to be our passport. Will we be treated as minorities if we do not have our vaccine, if we do not have proof of being vaccinated? Is this what we're going to? First, being an alien, an illegal alien in this country was being considered a minority. Is it now moving to not being vaccinated? Will they be the minority now? And if I could share something very, very quickly, which is a little bit scary. If you ask me, individuals in Europe are taking this matter very, very seriously. And you can't be shopping out. You can't be out in public without this vaccine card. And how, the ramifications of not having one. We see here in Europe, in Paris, to be precise, how they're not tolerating this. And this is what it's coming down to. Check it out. This is happening, guys. This is happening because she did not have a vaccine card. She was shopping in Europe, and she openly refused to provide any documents to law enforcement, to mall officials as she was entering the building. And people were saying, hey, She's not vaccinated. She's not vaccinated. Chase her. And the SWAT team, the cops, you would think that she killed somebody. You would think that she was out being harmful or being a threat to society, whether she was a terrorist. You would think something like this. This is how we expect them to treat those individuals that are terrorists. But no, this lady simply just didn't want to show her vaccine card. And look at the force that she was met with. There was 2 women and over 20 officials, and they brought out the bats and they were beating them. If we go to Sunrise Mall, would we be offended if we do not have vaccine cards? Should we expect something like this to happen to us? Again, this might be far-fetched. Some are saying, "Oh, Frankie, you're just out there." But no, this is what individuals throughout the world are going through. Some individuals think, "Hey, I don't want to take the shot. I don't believe in it." And some are saying, "Hey, no, this is the severity of this virus is very, very deadly. And if I have to take 2 shots and a booster, I'll go ahead and do it." Some individuals are doing the black market again and saying, "Hey, I got vaccinated," which in reality they didn't. Would you be offended if I asked you for your vaccine card? Should we expect to get beaten down at our local mall for not wanting to comply with this? I wouldn't say mandate, but it's a social movement that people are partaking, and individuals who are not vaccinated are in the minority, so to speak. Our new world, ladies and gentlemen. María, hijito, buenos días. Dios bendiciones. Igualmente, gracias por estar aquí y por su comentario. Esperamos que tenga un lindo lunes al iniciar esta semana. Al igual, muchas bendiciones a usted y a su familia. Gracias por su tiempo, gracias por estar aquí. Se le agradece mucho. Gracias y que pase buen día, María. Millions of illegals working with documents, employers hiring them, and the government is going after unvaccinated card. Ridiculous. That's a good point, Rodriguez. That is a very good point. I never thought about it that way. But playing devil's advocate, Rodriguez, could we say that, hey, this deals with the health and safety of everybody around? Because if we're around somebody with that is not vaccinated, we could potentially be around an individual who is spreading the virus. Is that fair to say, Rodriguez? Is that the reason why individuals are taking this so personal that, hey, you need to be vaccinated? Is the government trying to implement this, shove this down our throats? It seems that way. Several people were arrested in New York because they were selling fake vaccine cards. They were even paid somebody to input the information into the government system. Wow. And again, this is something that we expect. There's always a way around these things. And I'm sure it's just a simple card. We can probably come up with a device. I'm not encouraging nobody to do so. But when you really think about it, if you wanted to, you can. The black market is easily accessible to anybody who has the money, it seems. Here, living close to Matamoros, we could probably order from China. It is easily accessible, and it's interesting. El Gallo's comments. It's interesting that individuals are being arrested for it. Good morning. I don't have my vax and travel a lot to New York. I'm just saying that this is something that is happening in New York. Could it possibly be something that trickles down? As we all know, everything in Brownsville, we always take forever to be up with the culture, to be up with modern times. I'm just saying that this is something, Salazar, this is something that other individuals throughout the world, in Paris, in New York, are dealing with. Could us here in Texas, sooner rather than later, be experiencing these same situations? Possibly. I'm not saying that this is something that we're dealing with right now, but these are important key events that are going on, and it's crucial for us to learn what is out there in the world. Vaccinated are allowed to spread COVID. How does this make sense? That's very true, because we have learned, Joe, that individuals who are vaccinated, even though they have the vaccination, they're still contracting the virus. That's a good point, Joe. So just because I have my card saying that I'm vaccinated doesn't necessarily mean that I'm not spreading the virus. That's a good thought, Joe. I never thought about that. That's so true. Just because I have a card doesn't mean that I'm not spreading the virus. I never thought about that. That's so true. But again, this is what society is creating and categorizing as being the norm. Do you want this to be your norm? Do you want to be asked for your vaccination papers whenever you go out in public with your family? Would you feel comfortable with giving that? Or is that like HIPAA where, hey, this is medical information. This is something personal. There's some issues that you don't discuss with individuals. You don't talk about politics. You don't talk about religion. You don't talk about how much money you make. And you don't talk about somebody's medical history. Is this something that we say, hey, I don't want to talk about it? It's just something to think about. It's just something that I wanted to bring up to everybody's attention because it is something that other individuals are facing throughout the world. And I feel that this is something important for us to study, to see what is happening on other parts of the globe. Story of the day. I was kind of hesitant to talk about this because this is a very sensitive issue. It has legal and religious ramifications on both sides of the spectrum. And when it came about, when it was implemented this past Wednesday, I was thinking, should I talk about this or not? But I do feel that this is something very, very important for us to have up for discussion. This past Wednesday, 666 new laws were implemented by the state of Texas. The open carry was one of them. Individuals would be able to have access to alcohol on Sundays. I believe now it's starting at 9 or 10 in the morning, if I'm not mistaken. But also something very, very important that was implemented in the state of Texas was abortion. Now, in the state of Texas, you must abort before 6 weeks. After the 6-week term, it is termed illegal. Now, again, this has legal and religious ramifications, implications, and this is a very, very sensitive issue. We are supportive of women having the right to dictate of what they want to do with their body. And we feel that both sides of the spectrum have valid arguments. And this is something that here with Good Morning Brownsville, we want to do. We want to present both sides of the story. I'm not here to convince nobody. I'm not here to convert nobody. I will present the good and the bad, and I expect you, the viewer, my community, to decipher and make a decision on what is best for their family and what is their stance, whether that's a religious belief or just a personal belief. I think it's important for us to talk about both sides of the story. There are also people in the state of Texas that want to protect abortion rights. They want to protect women to having easy access to this procedure. The interesting part about this, guys, was the bounty hunter implementation. That's right. You heard it right. Individuals will get paid if you report a taxi driver, if you report a mother who took her daughter after the 6 weeks to go get an abortion. You can report them and you could be compensated up to $10,000. Can you get that? This is the new, the Texas Right to Life has set up what is called a whistleblower website where individuals can submit anonymous tips about anyone they believe to be violating the law. $10,000. Imagine that. That is crazy. We did see how the Supreme Court on a 5-4 decision ruled that they would not block the Texas abortion law. Something even more crazier happened. The Satanic Temple, those individuals that worship Satan, have come out in support of women and state that they themselves will perform a procedure of themselves. They made it into a ritual. Their beliefs is that if we do something so crazy, the state of Texas will be forced to go back on this law. So the Satanic Temple of Satan will be having these procedures. And they posted on Twitter that they stand ready to assist any member who shares our deeply held religious convictions regarding the right to reproductive freedom. Accordingly, we encourage any member who resides in Texas and wishes to undergo the satanic abortion ritual within the 24 weeks of pregnancy call us. There is an individual here that did post her gratitude, and she did send a special shouts out to the satanic temple and said, thank you for protecting my productive rights. And again, this is something that is very, very personal to me and to other individuals. I feel that we must protect our women as much as possible. Let's not forget about Roe versus Wade back in 1970, how the Supreme Court at that time decided that the government had no right to dictate and tell the female what she should do with her body. Now, this law that Texas implemented is going up against that. It is challenging the federal government. And what is interesting in this case, guys, is that the federal government didn't put up a fight. In a 5-4 vote, they said, y'all do what you got to do. We're not going to mess with this issue. So what happens to Roe versus Wade? What happens on the belief that the federal government trumps state law? That is how I thought about it. That is how I see our system working, that the federal government has more power than the local states. Well, this kind of topples that. The Supreme Court decision back in 1970 of Roe versus Wade that gave women the liberty to decide what she will do with her body and does not give the government that right is now being trampled by a Texas law that says that a woman cannot have an abortion after the 6 weeks. And ladies, those who have children, correct me if I'm wrong, most women don't know that they're pregnant by 6 weeks, unless, of course, a couple is trying to conceive. You know, maybe they're checking, or maybe they're calculating or keeping count of their days and seeing, okay, am I pregnant or not? But for the most part, stories that we hear of the celebration of being of conceiving is that we weren't expecting. This was an accident. I'm going to get in trouble. We weren't expecting this. This is something that came out of the blue. We know what a blessing. Women, do y'all know when y'all are pregnant? Unless y'all are actively monitoring this. 6 weeks is not enough time. 6 weeks is a month and a half. But again, the state of Texas is now dictating to our women what they can do and what they can't do with their body. But what about this? What about this Republican logic? My body, my choice for the mask, but not with your reproductive system, not with your body. Your body is my choice. That is what our government here in the state of Texas is dictating to our females. Again, there are many, many issues that come about, and this is a very sensitive topic. I didn't preparing for this. I didn't take this lightly. I know there's individuals who are on both sides of the spectrum. There are young females who are sometimes victimized. They're raped by individuals being underage. They are mothers out there who are devastated by this announcement and tell their daughters, or their family tells their daughter, you're going to waste your life. You're too young. You're 15 years old. You're 16 years old. My mother, talking personally, my mother had me at the age of 16, going on 17. I could have been one of those cases where, mija, you're too young, is going to ruin your life. Thank God that I was born. But there are families out there that encourage their loved ones not to go on with this. How does our community feel about this? Are you okay with the federal government trying to ram this down your throat, forcing you? You can't control what you do with your body. I, the federal government, the big gorilla, can tell you what to do. It doesn't seem right. Again, we are of the belief that is something personal. Religion tells us that abortions are bad. But again, there is incest, there is rape, there is unwanted predators who take advantage of unwilling females, of underage females. So it's a very sensitive issue. And that is something that I feel that each individual personally, whether as, making the decision alone or making the decision with as a family, that is something that each family or each household should take on their own. Comments. My son is visiting from New York and he carries his card with him while in the city because there are places that won't let him in if you can't prove your vaccination. It's happening. It really is, Maria. And that is the reason why I like to discuss different topics that go about because sometimes what happens in one place might happen in the state of Texas. And again, here in Brownsville, it seems like if we always get that trickle down effect, it always takes forever for us to get wind of what the trend is or what the culture is up to, it seems. But I like to present information that what is happening around the world, maybe we can use it to our benefit. Maybe the city of Brownsville sooner than later. Right now we are in a level 3, which is something serious regarding the COVID in our area, in our city. We are at a level 3, which is cause for concern. But could Brownsville be going into this stage of requiring vaccine cards? Only time will tell. My son had his vax and got the COVID. We sent him to a hotel for 14 days. Was expensive to pay. And Salazar, what Joe Rodriguez was previously stating, just because you have a vaccine card doesn't mean you're immune to the virus. We have heard about individuals who have gotten the 2 shots and are still tested and still contracted the virus. So just by having a vaccine card doesn't necessarily say, hey, all is fair, all is good and dandy. They still could get it. For people that complain about mask and vaccine mandates and how it's their body, their choice, are the same ones who are trying to control other people's right to choose. And that's the government. I am a proponent of individual rights. I don't like big government. I think big government should stay out of our way. I think the government's role in society is to help and assist states and its citizens whenever there are in need, not to implement their beliefs on society. I've been trying to have kids all these years and can't. These women are doing abortion. Damn, not fair. Again, it is a very delicate issue, Barron. Very, very delicate. Some females, and I've heard that they've done this more than once. That they do not practice safe or use protection, safe sex. That they willingly say, "Oh, I'll just abort." Again, it's something very, very sensitive. I stayed up late at night thinking about how I was going to maneuver myself around this topic. But I think it's important for us to talk about it. Right to do what they want with their body goes out the window in the heat of the moment. In the heat of the moment, you're talking about sex. How can I say this? I don't agree with you, Steamboat. I don't agree with that statement. Whether it be in the heat of the moment, whether it be in love, whether it was premeditated, whether they were planning on it, I still feel that a woman should do what she feels is best for her and her family, whether that's before the 6 weeks, after the 6 weeks. Again, I think we could all agree, and again, this is very, very delicate, that there comes a point in time where the embryo, the baby, is considered a life. Maybe when there's a heartbeat, maybe that is when we can declare it a life, or is it a life once it's conceived? It's up for discussion, is how we interpret things. So we get asked, if we are vaccinated, what about store owners and employees? Are they going to wear ID badges like dogs that are saying they're safe? That's a good idea. And this opens up a can of worms, it seems, Steamboat. By enforcing this, are we going to enforce everybody doing it? And make sure you show me your card, because if not, I will not go to your establishment. Guys, thank you so much. Happy Monday. I really, really appreciate y'all. It is 7:42 a.m. Thank you so much for your patience. Thank you so much for your love and your kindness. Hope to see you all here on Wednesday at 7. Hope you have a great, great Monday. God bless.